Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. This is a show where I try to educate people about the criminal justice system through stories. I'm delighted to continue our Fifth Ward series sponsored by Mr. Art Smith. He's bringing interested people in the community in to talk about the trials and tribulations of crime, their stories, and how we can overcome from these tragic stories. All right, let me turn to you first and tell me about who our guest is tonight, Mr. Eddie Lewis, and why you thought he would be good for your Fifth Ward series.
Well, Ed is someone that, always carried himself to be a stand-up individual when we was in high school, from middle school up to high school. He's always been a stand-up guy, and he's always been a leader. He ain't never been, a follower of the pack, and he's always been a leader. And he's always had a lot of people to respect him. A lot of times he had to do what he had to do to earn their respect when folks really didn't know who and what, what he's bringing to the table. And when I found that, he had just came home and he would always, check in the last few months or so. He'd be like, or in the last year, he was like, all right, man, we playing ball over at Finnegan Park, man. We gonna hoop? I said, man, y'all ain't playing. He said, no, man, me, Nasty, we all getting together, we playing ball. So he would check in from time to time, and so when we was thinking about, when we brought Nasty onto the series, he's the one who had got Nasty's job. And so I was like, when he came.
Oh, you the one that got Nasty the job?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when he came, I was like, well, man, I want you to, I said, man, would you be interested in telling your story? And he was like, oh, man, I got a lot to talk about. And I just feel that, a person.
27 years, he has a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's talk to you, Eddie. So Eddie Lewis, you're from Fifth Ward. You did 27 and a half years. That's a long time, from 1990 to 2017.
Yes.
I know you've seen a lot of things, and I can tell already that we'll have to talk to you more than once because an hour won't be enough to tell your story. But let me just ask you this. So tell me about middle school. I think you told me you were bused. Tell me about that.
Yes, I went to middle school. I was bused into Bel Air in Persian Middle School. And one of the best schools I went to, because they had it all over there. But
and you were a straight A student?
I was straight A. Yes.
So what school would you have gone to had you not been bused to Pershing?
Mac Reynolds.
Mac Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how do you got selected because of your academics or because it was just certain kids were being bused? Why were you?
No, academics. They sent some of the smart guys over there and girls too.
Okay. All right. Don't leave the girls out.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So when y'all went over there, tell me about that experience going from Fifth Ward to Bel Air.
Well, it was strange because over here we deal with a bunch of blacks and Mexicans, and over there was a bunch of white people.
Okay.
And it seemed like they was kind of like afraid of the blacks. And knowing me, I took advantage of it and ended up getting kicked out after a year and a half.
Okay.
Got kicked out. Worst mistake I ever made.
The worst mistake you ever made. It sounded like a big mistake. So from there, when you got kicked out, what happened? Did you go back to your regular
I ended up going to Fleming.
Okay.
And then from Fleming to E.O. Schmidt with art.
Okay.
And then I went from Schmidt to Mac Reynolds. And graduated Mac Reynolds, ended up going to Wheatley.
Okay. And so why did you have to go to so many schools?
Bad.
Now tell me why you were bad. I mean, was it your influence at your home, in your neighborhood? Tell me about that.
Well, where I'm from, you had to be pretty tough. You got to be pretty tough, especially coming up, because they're going to make you tough.
Who is that? Who is they?
Oh, I got some partners over there. They was a little older than we was, about 3 or 4 years older than we. They're going to make you tough.
Now, back then, it wasn't gangs or anything like
No,
that,
it wasn't.
right?
No, it
so,
wasn't gangs.
It wasn't gangs in the 80s. So tell me, so it was just neighborhood struggles.
Yes. I had,
Did you live in a home with a mother and father?
No, just my mother. Me and my mother and my sister were right there.
Okay.
But I had some partners. We hung together every time, all day, every day, and we do different things, and we just bad.
Okay. And what was your mother able to contain you? Was she working? Tell me how your relationship with your mother was when you were going through these bad changes as a young man.
Oh, well, I didn't like her because she tell me off the bone. I didn't. No, she used to. Ooh, I don't know how I ended up being like that because murder.
She used to tear you up?
Murder.
Wow. Was she a working lady?
Yeah, she worked. I mean, it was just.
You just wanted to be bad, huh?
I don't know. It's just. I don't know. It's crazy.
Oh, okay. All right. So once you get to high school, you told me before we got on air that you quit in the 11th grade. So
Yes,
what
I did.
made you quit school?
I got tired of it. You know, get kicked out and come back after 3 days, get kicked out some more. And
Now tell me what your mindset was. Was it like, I got to act bad? What was your bad? Selling dope? Was it stealing? I mean, what was your bad? Fighting? What was it?
everything,
Oh, everything. Okay. All of the above?
all of the above.
Okay. All right. Talk to me some more.
Yes, but I'm not a bad guy though.
I believe you're not a bad guy, and you don't have to defend yourself to me. I'm with you. I just want to know, sometimes people ask me, since I deal in criminal law, what makes somebody take the wrong path or steal or fight? And we're trying to answer some of those questions.
Right.
So if you could stretch back that far, I mean, I know it was a long time ago. What was your,
Oh, he got an elephant memory. He got an elephant
why
memory.
would you choose to do the wrong thing versus the right thing?
I don't know. You know, it's kind of strange because it seems like we all know how to do the right thing. We all know what the right thing is.
Right.
But sometimes it seems like you're just giving up too much trying to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it seemed like back then everything was fun. All the wrong stuff was fun.
Okay. And the good stuff wasn't?
The good stuff, no, it wasn't fun. It take too long, it's slow, and yeah, it wasn't right.
It wasn't right. Okay.
But that's what I thought back then.
That's what you thought back then?
Yes.
You learned since then?
Oh, completely. Ooh.
Completely.
Man.
Okay, completely. So tell me, I think at some point in your young life you started robbing people. Now, what made you think that you should take somebody else's stuff? I mean, what was going on in your head?
Well, it's just want some quick cash, some easy money. You know, just easy money, just something to go
You never
get
thought
it.
about the victims of it or who you were taking it from?
Never.
And why not?
I didn't care.
Okay. All right.
They had something I wanted, and I wanted it.
Okay, you wanted it. All right. And so you ended up getting charged with aggravated robbery, right?
Yes.
On multiple occasions.
Yes.
And the first time you went to prison, you got 2 life sentences. Is that right?
The second time.
That was the second time. So tell me about the first time you went to prison.
Well, the first time I had a burglary case.
Okay.
I ended up breaking into somebody's house. Well, and that was strange because
Was
I
it
don't.
in your neighborhood? Or?
Yes, right there,
I mean, why would you do that? Next door, down the street?
right around the corner.
That's
just
what
right
burglaries
there.
usually are. It's usually somebody in the community or been in your house or knows what's in your house.
Yes.
And that's what happened.
Yes, and I am getting 7 years.
How'd you get caught?
Oh, somebody gave me out.
Did you go in by yourself or was it other people?
I went by myself.
You never got probation, you just got 7 years.
7 years.
And how much time did you do on that? That was the in-out days, I guess.
Yes, I did about 8 months, 9 months.
Okay. And that didn't stop you?
That wasn't long enough.
It wasn't long enough. Okay, I got you. It wasn't long enough for you then, huh?
I mean, it wasn't long enough. It was just I went in there, had fun, and came out. Man, that's cool now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so then talk to me about the next crime. Can you talk about that?
Well, I ended up robbing this guy, and
Did you know him?
no,
Tell me the situation. Was it a gas station? Was it home invasion? Was somebody
no,
walking out
this
the street?
guy was leaving his business, going to the bank. He was going to drop money to the bank.
And you knew that?
Yes, I
You
did.
had cased the joint. You knew he was going to take money.
Yes, I did.
By himself?
By himself.
Okay. And what happened?
And I got out the car to get it, and he reared up, and I shot him.
Okay. And tell me why you chose that route versus just fighting him over it or hitting him in the head. Were you high? I mean, what was your mental state
Well,
at that time? I know that was a long time ago, late 80s.
the crazy thing is he was a Oriental guy.
Okay.
And I'd seen way too many Bruce Lee movies to let you kick this thing out of my hand and
Okay.
hold it against me. Ooh.
And that was in the late 80s, right?
Yes, that was 89, yes.
Okay, 1989. Okay. All right. And then what happened after that?
Well, I ended up going to jail.
I mean, did you get caught right then? Did you hide?
Oh,
Was it a big
no,
police
they
chase?
no,
I
we
mean,
got
how-
away. We got away and
It was more than you.
yes.
It was a we.
Yes. But we got away. And you know, it was like I don't know, 2.5 months later.
Oh, 2.5 months? That's a long time.
Yes, they I was riding in the car with some of my partners and they pulled us over. And they had, you know, the picture of me.
Well, I wonder why. I mean, they didn't have cameras back then, so I wonder how they knew it was you.
Well, they had a picture
But how'd they
That-
have it? How'd they get a picture of you?
from the
Oh, so they did have surveillance cameras.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, they had a picture. They when they came got us out the car, And I gave him a fake name and everything, and and everything passed. Until another law pulled up, and he had the picture.
Did he have a picture of everybody?
No,
or
just me.
you?
Just me.
Okay, because it was more than you that did it, and I'm not asking you who it was, but it was more than you, right?
Yes.
How many people was it?
4.
Okay.
But yeah, they had the picture. They had a picture of me, and they that's one of the worst days of my life, cause they beat me like I was crazy.
Oh, the cops did? Oh, they used to whoop you back then.
Man, ooh. All right.
Wow.
Did they whoop everybody or just you?
I don't know went to jail. Everybody else take out and run across the field. Y'all take out and running.
Oh, you didn't run?
They didn't tell me to run. They told me to
Who didn't tell you
freeze
to run?
right there, police. Freeze, don't you move.
They told the rest of them to run?
Everybody else get on, don't you move.
Oh, they told them to run?
Yes, get
Those
on, get
bad
on.
cops.
Yeah, get on.
Bad cops,
But
like,
you,
we know which one we want,
don't you move.
but everybody else can go.
Everybody else go, yes.
Wow. Were you the driver?
No, I'm sitting in the passenger seat.
So they had been doing some surveillance.
Well, it was like 5 of us in the car. So when we passed by, he's 5 people. So just get behind us and pull us over, just
But how'd they know you were the right one?
because he came with the picture.
So
They didn't stop the car looking for me.
Oh, they didn't.
They just stopped the car because it was 5 black people in the car. So
I'm just trying to figure out how
Yes.
they put together that you were one of the robbers from 2.5 months ago.
Well, people talk.
Okay. So you think that they knew?
Yes, people talk.
Okay. All right. So tell me. So you get arrested 2.5 months later, and you go to jail. Were you able to bond out?
No, I had no bond.
Okay. And then how long were you in jail before you? Did you go to trial?
No.
Okay. And why did you choose not to go to trial?
Well, capital murder run life or death. There's no numbers in between. Just and when Miss Belinda Hill wanted to give me the death penalty.
Okay.
She wanted to give me the death penalty. She was pushing.
Was she your prosecutor?
Yes. And she told me, she said, after I get through with this trial, you get ready. I said, bring it on. But inside, I was like, man, I don't know. I ain't ready.
Who was your lawyer?
I forgot his name.
You know who your lawyer was.
I forgot his name.
How you gonna remember the prosecutor? You don't remember who the lawyer was. The prosecutor wasn't representing you and talking to you.
But the prosecutor was the biggest thing in the courthouse.
Do you remember the courtroom it was?
Yes, I was in 337.
337. Okay.
Jim Barr.
Okay.
I remember that name.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and his wife was a judge for a lot longer than him. So,
Yes.
Barr. Wow. Okay. Well, that's the right number. 337. Yep. Jim Barr. Okay. All right. So once she said that, how long did you linger in the jail before you decided I'm not going to trial and get the death penalty?
I stayed in jail 14 months.
Okay.
And she went on vacation. After the trial, she went on vacation.
After your trial or somebody else's trial?
After the first trial, yeah. Not mine, the other guy.
Oh, so the other guy went to trial.
He had nothing to do with me. He was on his own. He just
Oh,
going
just
to
a trial
trial.
she was
Right,
having.
right.
But how'd you know all about that? Like that, were you in the courtroom? I mean, how'd you know?
Because she told me, when I finished with this trial.
But she told you that in the jail? I mean, how did she get to talk to you?
No, when I go to court, they had such she came back there and,
Okay, so when I
Louis, I said, who was that? That ain't my lawyer. That's the DA, man. So she told me.
And your lawyer wasn't around?
No. But no bailiff. She was right there. I'm like, man. When she said what she said, I went off on her.
Oh, okay.
I'm sitting there with all these guys, and she telling me about what she going, you ain't talking to me like, just, and it was crazy because I'm going against my life,
Right.
I'm going against my life, arguing with this woman, and she got all the keys.
Yeah.
She got the keys to the castle.
But we caught on vacation, and the assistant DA came with the deal.
Who was that?
I have no idea.
You didn't get that name.
No.
All right, so your lawyer, who you don't remember who it is, came with a deal. And so what was the deal?
They offered you 2 life sentences, run CC, and they're going to throw 4 cases away.
And you were just 20 years old?
I was 21 at the time.
21, okay. How did you get your mind together for that?
Well, it wasn't easy, and it should have been.
It should have been easy?
It should have been easy.
Why?
Life or death, what are you going to do?
I know,
You
I know.
You want to die?
Because you were 20 years old, you couldn't.
But the thing was, when I went to the law library, and I seen that life sentence do 15 years to come off for parole.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just 21.
Right.
15 years, I'd be 36.
Right.
Man, I'm still,
Right.
Then I thought about, I might get a couple years set off here, a couple years set off here, so 40, I'm good,
You thought you'd be 40 years old?
At least 40 years. But
But in actuality, how old were you when you got out?
48.
48, okay. So you went ahead and signed, because a lot of young men, it's hard to make them sign for life.
Oh yeah,
I
it was
represent a lot of people
it is.
charged with capital murder and ag robbery. It's hard to get a young man to sign for that much time,
Yeah.
especially life now, because life is 40 years.
Yes.
No, and there's life on murder, but capital murder now is non-death capital. It's life without parole, and they getting it left and right too.
So what was the at the time? I'm just curious to know, Fast Eddie, how did it end up not being life without the possibility of parole?
That wasn't the law then.
Really?
So the law changes all the time, and he was in prison 27 and a half years, so he watched it change a lot.
I sure did.
So
Okay.
it went from 15 years when I first became a lawyer.
Yes.
This is why black people need to be, all people, but black people need to be educated about the law. And one of the frustrating things for my 22 years as a defense attorney is my clients charged with serious crimes would always tell me what the law is. That's not the law. Our legislators in Austin make the law, okay? And everybody follows it. It can be changed if they change it.
Yes.
So when I first became a lawyer in 92, if someone got life, they were up for parole in 15 years. Life was still life, but you were eligible for parole. It's the
Okay.
parole eligibility part of the law that's in the government code
Right.
Yeah.
and the parole code. So that's what it was. Then there were no state jail felonies when he went to prison.
No.
There was no such thing as that. It was just first degree, second degree, third degree, and capital murder. It was no in between. But because of the crack epidemic in the 80s and people were in and out of jail, they'd get 25 years like it's not nothing. They'd be in jail for a year, 2 years, because it was just a revolving cycle, because the criminal justice system wasn't ready for that crack epidemic. They weren't ready for everybody going to jail, because back in the 70s, and I'm a high school graduate from the 70s, people wasn't doing all that.
Right.
You know, people just didn't go to jail like that. They might have done. It might have been some heroin addicts, or it might have been some few people, but it was no such thing as crack and cocaine in the minority community.
Yeah.
It was alcohol. They were dropping Christmas trees, dropping pills, and they had acid or whatever. But it just wasn't. The cops just didn't do you like in the 70s. Actually, marijuana was a felony. But you go to concerts like the Funkadelics and P-Funk. Everybody was smoking weed.
Yep.
Not me, of course, but everybody was smoking weed. And so I'm just saying, but you could smell it everywhere. And I was in San Antonio then. But I'm just telling you, so the law was different when I came here. So it was 15 years. And then in like 1992 or 1994, I forget, between that time, they created state jail felonies. And that was supposed to be so all the nonviolent crimes and cocaine under a gram, because people were doing under a gram, and the third time they were doing 25 to life on the third time. But they didn't really stay because the prisons were overcrowded.
Right.
So when they created the state jail felonies, like I said, I used to know the year because I was here when it happened. I think it was 94, but it was between 92 and 94. I was a lawyer then. That whole category was supposed to send them to the state jails up to 2 years, no parole system, and then that would alleviate the problem. So when people got first and second and third degree felonies, they could actually go to prison for a long time and not be just coming out. That's what it was created for. So it was for the nonviolent offenses like forgery, burglary, mostly cocaine under a gram, crack under a gram, powder under a gram, the smaller crimes. Because they were, like I said, going in and out. So they were getting mixed in with the aggravated robbers, the murders, and it was making everybody's time go down because it's only so many beds in the state of Texas, and people are sending them from all over the country. And so when people go to prison, they always want to ask their lawyer, how long is you going to stay? You're supposed to stay the whole time. But if you only have 100 beds and you got 1,000 people coming in, then you got to say, okay, well, which one is the least dangerous that I can let go so this next group can come in? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I got it.
So that's the way parole works. So that's why your lawyer can never tell you, because understand the separation of powers doctrine. So the legislature creates the law. They say how much time you're going to do. The the judiciary in the middle is the part that's taking you to trial, giving you sentences based on what the law is that the legislature created. And then the parole system is the executory branch of government. It's the third level. It's the one that executes the sentence that came from the judiciary based on the law that's from the legislature. So no one in the judiciary, which is the court, the prosecutor, the defense attorney, can tell you how the parole board, the executory branch, is going to execute the sentence, other than they have to do it in accordance with the law, and then there's leeway. So if it's a life sentence, they have to let you come up for parole in 15 years
Yes.
because that's what the law was written in. But they don't know how bad you were in prison. Did you kill somebody in prison? Are you disobeying the rules? So then the parole board, the executory branch, is looking at all of your conduct while you're in prison to determine whether or not we should let you go versus somebody else because we only have so many beds.
Right.
Do I really have a phone call?
Yes.
All right. Well, caller, you're on.
Yeah, I've served as a juror for a couple of times or whatever. And one thing odd that kind of happened, and this was probably in the 90s, I don't remember exactly when, but after the jury had been selected or when the jury was being selected, one of the jurors asked the judge, he says, well, if we give somebody 20 years, is he really going to serve 20 years? And the judge said, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not allowed to answer that question. Well, I kind of knew there was a thing called good time.
Yes, sir.
And I understood that good time, if you didn't get in any serious trouble, it halved your sentence. So in other words, if you got 20 years, that was you're down to 10. And then you were eligible for parole after half of that, which is 5 years. Is that still the case? And do judges still are not allowed to tell jurors what the real effect of their sentence is?
So yes and no. So I'll get to the no for the yes first. Yes, judges are still not allowed to do it. It's because of what I'm explaining now that it's the executory branch of government, and they don't know. The only thing that the judge does know that they can tell you, which can be in the jury charge for the punishment portion. Sir, in the trial that you had, was there a guilt? Did you find the person guilty, and then the jury went on to determine punishment?
No, it was a hung jury.
Oh, it was a hung jury. So you didn't get to go that far. But if you would have gone that far, like say if y'all would have unanimously found them guilty and the defendant chose to go to the jury for punishment, then, his character would have been into effect then, like everything he did good or bad in the community, and prior record would come in. And then you would have another jury charge, which you had during guilt innocence, and it would tell you the law. So if it was a crime, the non-aggravated crimes, you used to be eligible for parole in 1/4 of the time. Mm-hmm. So if it was 20 years, that would be what, 5, 10, 15, 20. So in 5 years, that would be eligible. If it was an aggravated crime, then you would be eligible in half the time, which on if you gave somebody 20 years would be 10 years. So that means that they would have to sit in prison for 10 years, can't talk to nobody about getting out, until the halftime is done. And that's on any case that's aggravated. And that's still the law today. Mm-hmm. Back in those days, though, 1/4 was the non-aggravated cases. And I think it's a third now. I think
it was a third back then.
It used to be a third, and now it's a fourth. Yeah. I became a lawyer in '92, so that's right when a lot of those changes were being made. That's when Ann Richards was going out and Bush was becoming the governor. And a lot of the code, the penal codes and laws hadn't been changed in like 30 years, 50 years, and they were all of a sudden changed. So, but right now it's a fourth time. Yeah, we used to be a third. But back in the day when he went to prison for capital murder, there was either life or it was the death penalty. There was no life without parole, but life was still, capital life I think was 20 or 30 years. If you got just regular life on murder, it was 15. So it was all those different rules, and they're still there today, it's just the legislature changes them. So like right now, life on capital murder is life without parole. So we didn't have that back then. So now when people get life without parole, sir, they actually don't get out ever in life. Ever in life. And so that's why we don't do the death penalty. We don't seek the death penalty that much anymore. Is because if you give somebody, and the coldest part, I was a defense attorney for 22 years, the coldest part of life without parole is that, say for example, I'm representing you and it's just a regular old murder or a death penalty case. There's going to be that punishment phase where you can beg for your life, you can bring in people to say, I used to walk the old lady across the street, I used to protect her, in addition to all the bad things you were doing. So people could think about what they were going to give you. They can think about it. On life without parole, you have a guilt innocent phase. So if you're a juror and you find somebody guilty, it's over. There is no punishment phase. You automatically, and when I represent a lot of young men, little gangsters, with those cases, and let me tell you this, they would be like, but Miss King, I can't fight for my life. I can't get up there and beg. I'm like, it's over, boo. It's a wrap. So as soon as they get found guilty, it's no punishment phase. They going straight to prison for the rest of their lives. And see, that they didn't have that when these kids don't get out now. And they don't do that, and they don't get out. Now they can negotiate life on murder. When it's an ag robbery, it's a capital murder. Because to get a capital murder, you got to have an aggravating case and a murder. That's what makes it capital. So they can beg if they're willing to plead, and the victim's family agrees. Because a lot of victims' families these days don't believe in the death penalty. If they say, well, I don't mind if he does life, because life on murder is 30 years before you're eligible for parole.
Right.
It's 30 now, but it was 15. But if it's
But one thing they had.
You have another question, sir?
Excuse me.
Yeah, I was aware of this, and I knew when the judge said, "Well, I can't tell you." I made it a point when I was in the jury room to inform my fellow jurors about what the sentence actually meant. In other words, 20 years wasn't 20 years; it was 5, and explain to it now.
But let me tell you this:
I
it could be
felt that
5.
was
But I
my duty.
know young men that got 20, and they stayed the whole 20 after they've made state jail felonies, and the beds were open, and they had a lot of space at TDC. If you got it in the early 90s, if you know anybody that ever got 15 years or 20 years just on robbery, nobody's hurt, and they got 15 or 20 years, just so you know, they didn't let them out. So the intent is really to keep them in. It's just that when you have a state as large as Texas, and there is only so many beds, that's why they had to create those state jail felonies, because they actually go to a different facility. They're not in the TDC system. They created state jails so they can just do all their time, and there's no parole, and it's not burdening the parole system. But no, those young people, when they changed the law and created those facilities, if they got, like in 1995, if somebody got 20 years, they stayed 17 or 18. And you know that because you were in there during that time.
That's a lot of time doing it now.
They did a lot of time. So it wasn't what you think. And that's why it's all based on bed availability in the state. But if it was in the 80s when you got 20 years, you'd be in and out. You'd have to do that mandatory minimum of that 4 years, like you're talking about, the 5 years, sir. That's when you did it. But once they created those state jails, trust me, they didn't do it. And I know a lot of people that and I was a prosecutor from 92 to 95. So I know from firsthand knowledge. And then I left in 95 and did defense until 2017 and went back to the DA's office with Kim as a DA. So I definitely lived all through all that time. But now they don't get out. And jurors don't believe that. If you give somebody life without parole now, they ain't never getting out.
Oh my God.
Never getting out. Never getting out.
And it's
a lot of them that have it too. It's a lot of them that get it. Because so back in the day, we sparingly used the death penalty. Okay? But now, since it's life without parole, those cases are tried every week downtown. They tried, at least once or twice a month. It's got to be a whole wing being built for the young men getting life without parole, because they ain't never getting out. They just gonna kill each other. They're never getting out.
We got to get.
And they devastated too. And that's why we need to tell these stories so these kids will know. You shoot somebody one time in a robbery, your butt ain't getting out.
Yeah, it's over with.
It's a wrap now.
Misinformed.
Oh no, it's a wrap now.
Misinformed information that's happening in the community.
Oh no, it's a wrap, baby. It's a wrap.
We need to get that out, man.
It's a wrap. You got to stop. You got to stop your bad ways. It's not worth it. You got another comment, sir? Can we tell more of the story and you call us back?
One observation I would make, and I'm an old guy. I've been around for a long time.
You don't sound old.
Well, I am old, but anyway, I was, raised in the 50s or whatever, and I remember the prison system. And the prison system, as far as the population, pretty much the people that were in prison pretty much equaled the percentage of people that were, in the population. So, if you had 15% or 20% black people that lived in an area or a state or whatever, that's about how many you had in the prison. And the other 80% were white people. That was how many people were in the prison. And I've seen over the years the population percentage numbers change, and where right now we have, it's not reflective of the population. The number of black inmates far exceeds the percentage of them in the population, and the number of white inmates has gone down, et cetera, and so on. And I kind of wonder what has created this problem. And I'm a student of history. What are we doing wrong that we did right back in the 1950s to cause that problem where we've got minorities well in excess of 50% in the prison system and whites well less than 50%. What did we change between the 1950s and now to make that change in the prison population?
Man, that's a great observation. That is a great observation.
That's big. I ain't
From
never seen
that's
that.
deep. From where I sit, what I see different, because I was raised in the 60s and 70s. I'm 60 years old. It was the crack cocaine era to me. I mean, that's when, back in the heroin days, my aunt ran a beauty shop with a lot of beauticians on a corner in San Antonio that would be, like a rough corner, in a rough corner part of San Antonio. And the bad dudes would protect them, my aunt and her friends. They knew not to go to Mona's Corner, my aunt Mona, not to mess with Mona's Corner. She had an invalid daughter. She could keep her there in the Wheatley courts and the projects, and they didn't do it. There was honor among thieves. You know what I mean? She's of the community. They knew to watch her. But once the crack came into it, she said it's a new kind of ninja on the street now, okay? And they were breaking in her place left and right, stealing from her, where she was protected by those same guys doing wrong. You see what I'm saying? So I watched that revelation in the 70s, and she was like, these people don't have any honor anymore. I think because heroin was kind of a downer, you know what I mean? People weren't all hyped up, they get high, steal from their mother, steal a TV and pawn it and get high. It was a different time. But with crack, it was like people were like amped up, ready to steal. They stole from their neighbors, they stole from their mothers, they stole from everybody. You couldn't have businesses anymore.
But you know what, Ms. King?
It changed.
Referring to what the caller called in, I'm thinking from my point of view, answering his statement, adding to what you just said, a part of it is somewhere in the higher ups saw that same number that's a reflection on the population in the free world and say, we got to do something. And they doing something was bringing the cocaine in and putting it in the ghetto. That's what the do something had to have been. That's
But
when
even when the
everything
laws
reversed.
were written, though, like in federal, if you had crack, you did a whole bunch of time. If you had powder, you did do a lot of time. It doesn't feel good in the black community. It feels like it was conspiracy, sir. I know that's what people tell me. It
that's
didn't
what I'm
feel
telling
good. And now we've gone too far. There's more people in prison than ever. Everybody does drugs, black and white, but it does seem like the cops focused on the blacks doing drugs. 75% of the people in prison for drugs happen with a traffic stop. I mean, that's not good policing. That's just stopping somebody for a ticket and taking them out of the car and seeing if they have something, which used to be a violation of people's constitutional rights, that you couldn't search without a warrant. But the laws have evolved since in the last 30 years so that you can if you suspect anything. But what makes you suspect them? Because of the way they look? I mean, I don't know. So I'm just saying in the 70s, I'm gonna tell you this, cops didn't do that. When I was raised in San Antonio, even as high schoolers, if we had beer in the car, back then grown-ups could have open containers, but we couldn't because we were minors.
Right.
I was a high school cheerleader. If we had beer in the car, and I didn't drink, but my white girlfriends did, I was the only black cheerleader at my school, they would throw it away. If they stopped and gave us a ticket, they'd throw it away. Cops changed to me. And then now they won't do that. They're going to take you to jail for DWI. They're going to arrest you. But back then, if we did wrong, as long as we weren't the teenagers breaking in people's houses and robbing and killing people, if we did wrong, they treated us like our parents or our neighbors. The cops will slap you on the hand. I'm going to tell your mother. They're going to follow you home. And in San Antonio, we had all white cops. We didn't have no black cops because it was only 5% black. So it wasn't like they were, like the black cops in your community were looking out for the black people. I mean, these were white cops treating us all the same. They did not arrest people unless they were the robbers and the gangsters. They really made a difference. Now everybody's bad. Like the cops don't. We didn't have cops at the schools. Now kids get arrested at schools all day, every day for the things we used to get paddled for. So I think it's the society has changed a lot, and we've criminalized too much behavior, and a lot of times it's teenage behavior. Now if you have a fight at school, you're going to go to jail. But if you used to go to have a fight at school, everybody got suspended for 3 days. And you might go to the principal's office and the coach paddled you.
And I would
It's
like to know,
changed.
when you was down there those 27 and a half years, man, can you give us a snapshot of what the age group from 18 to 25, what was their mindset when they came in there with them big numbers, and what was the mindset of the brothers that was in there that was gonna be coming back home? What were y'all tutelaging them, or what did y'all help them get adjusted to that type of time? And how was you able to, did somebody give you the game on how to do the time when you got there, versus what's happening right now?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If a young dude go to prison right now and he's not in the game, there's a way out. If he had a good basketball game,
Yeah.
or he can make people laugh, or if he can even fight to be the last one, because they'll try you. If you can fight, they'll still try you.
Yeah.
But if you got a good basketball game and you can make people laugh,
Yeah.
you breeze right on through.
Is that right?
Yes, you breeze right on through.
But how was it when you first got there, though?
Well, that's
Because
what
when you first got there, there were no gangs. In 1990, was it?
oh, that was always gangs.
Oh, it was prison gangs.
Right, prison.
'Cause it wasn't gangs on the street, though.
No, it was prison gang. They had,
Prison gangs.
they got a lot of them in there too. A lot of them. And they all young guys.
Did you have to join a gang?
No, unfortunately I didn't. But I've been asked.
And why didn't you think you needed a gang for protection in prison?
Well, my main thing was when I first went there, I said, the first somebody get out of line with me, I'm gonna set an example.
Okay.
I got to do 15 before I come up, so it ain't gonna. I figured it ain't gonna hurt nothing. I got 7, 8 years to
Fight.
throw away,
Right.
and I went there and I got into it with a guy. And after we got through, I didn't have a fight no more until like 11 years.
Oh, wow.
I got shipped from Cofield. I was on Cofield for 6.5 years, and I went from Cofield to all the way to Amarillo for 21 years. Amarillo.
You were that far away for 21 years? Why, for fighting or what?
For fighting, yes. I used to jump. I didn't used to jump on the police, but they spit in your face over there.
They spit in your face?
They spit in your face.
Okay.
Oh no, I wasn't having that. Anyway, I go to SEG. 18 months. There I go in the cell by myself.
18
Dang,
months?
18 months.
3 times. 18 months. 3
Dang.
times.
So you just got shipped to Amarillo, you away from your family, can't see anybody.
But when I went to Amarillo, that was really the best thing could have happened,
Why is that?
because it was different over there. It was still prison, and it was still, tough, but it was different over there. I was able to go to the dorms. After I got my 10 in, I was able to go to the dorms.
Yeah.
And when I went to the dorms, everything was,
So Dawn was more like a come up down there than anything, huh?
good.
Wow.
So you mean when you were doing Cofield, you went SEG all the time?
I went to SEG 3 times on Cofield, yes.
It was 18 months every time?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Year and a half every time.
So I know this is a crazy question to ask, but if you could do it again, would you have chosen the lifestyle that you chose when you caught these 2 life sentences?
No, I have God now.
You have God now?
Yes, I do.
You didn't have God then?
I knew who he was.
But he didn't stop you from making that choice.
He didn't stop me.
How do you think your 20-year-old self or your 18 or 19-year-old self would not commit the crimes that you committed? What could have been different to influence you to not make those choices? That's a hard one. All right, so what would you say to a kid now to stop them from making those choices?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a better
That's
one.
a good one.
Yeah.
I would tell him, I said, you know what? You know what you're doing ain't right. We all know right and wrong. You know it ain't right. Now, you got a choice. You got free will. God gave everybody free will. You can do it, but like I said, it's hard when you feel like this is all you know right here.
Right.
It's all you know. So when you go through and you keep on going through and you say like, I want to get a job,
Right.
but I already got a brand new Cadillac.
Right.
Could give me one of them.
Right.
And a job take too long.
But 27 years later, you realize if you just worked 2 or 3 years, you could have gotten a car.
I could have got, yes.
You could have had a whole bunch of cars.
That's right.
If you would have just taken a slow and steady pace. Can you share that with young people now?
Yes, if I can go back and say, you know what, let's do it all over again. Let's do a redo. First of all, I wouldn't have quit school. And first of all, let's say this first of all. My mother always told me about God, Jesus. She sent us to church, but I go to church, steal lollipops. I mean, who
Just had it in you.
who go to church steal lollipops?
I don't know, but I know you don't do that now.
Oh,
hey,
no.
Are you telling me somebody's on the phone? I'm sorry. Can we take this call? Do you mind if I take this call?
Yes.
All right, caller, you're on. Please state your question,
Yes.
please.
Yes, hi, I'm Eddie's first cousin, Felicia Martin. I just want to tell him I'm proud of him. And my question is, Eddie, if you can change back anything during that time, what will it be?
Well, you know what? Like I said a while ago, if I'd have found God a long time ago, everything would be different. Because that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. Jesus. That's the key.
Yes.
That's deep.
Yes, it is. That's the key.
And Felicia, while you were saying that, when you were asking, I calculated. He did 27 and a half years. I'll just say 27. Just say you had just a regular menial job, $30,000 a year. That's $810,000.
Yes.
Okay, just in 27 years. And that's not, of course, if you start a job at 30,000, you'll at least be up to 50, 60, 70 later. But I'm just saying, that just showed you made more than $1 million. One of the things I teach my clients, they didn't do as much time as you did, but what I used to teach them is that, you make a little $20,000, $30,000 job, your girl has one, you can go buy you a little $40,000 house in the neighborhood.
Oh, yes.
And your rent now going to be $400 a month. I mean, your mortgage. And then it's yours. You can fix it up, you can paint it, you can put new floors in it. It's yours. You don't have to worry about an apartment. Yeah. Buy the crackhead's house down the street. They losing. Okay? That's what you save your money and get it. You can buy it.
Yeah, you can
It's
buy it.
programs that you can buy it. First time home buyers, you got a job, you can do that. But anyway, thank you for calling in, Felicia.
Thank you. Ms. Vivian, have a good day.
All right, sweetheart. But I'm just saying, that's what I tell my clients. Just think of what you're losing. You can't get that. You can't get that time back.
No, you ain't get that back. That's
so you've been out for 2 years. You got a job. I'm proud to say that he does have a job. He works for a cement company.
Glad to hear that.
Pouring cement. Been doing that for over a year.
Yes.
And I'm proud of that. How, after all that time, because I hear people go to prison for a year or two and can't find a job. How did you find a job after being in prison for 27 years?
I wouldn't look for one.
You weren't looking for one. Yeah.
Wouldn't-
And you told people the truth about your record.
Yes.
Because that's the key, too.
Yeah. You know,
And
they
someone was willing to give you a second
They
chance.
have a bunch of jobs you got to sign up online. I don't like that.
Okay.
Because they go on the computer and look. Oh no! See, they don't know you.
Right.
But I went and talked to this guy, and I talked to him, and he understood where I was coming from, and I'm gonna help you out.
But your parole officer helped too, right? Or was
No.
it the temp agency?
Temp agency. Yes.
Okay, the temp agency helped you
Yes.
out. All right, so tell me how you approached the temp agency.
Well, I run into a guy. He said, "Man, you working?" I said, "No, not yet. I'm trying to find." He said, "Well, hey, call this guy. He got me on."
Okay, and that guy had a record.
Right.
Okay, who told you about
I
it?
said, "Oh, we got you on." So anyway, I called him. He told me to come to his office. I go up there, and he said, "You ever been to prison?" I said, I knew you were going to ask that. I said, "Yes, sir, I did." For what? And I told him, "Wow, ooh, I got a lot of jobs, but man, they not gonna hire you like that, And so I was like, man, I knew it. I mean, I just gave up already. I knew it. I said, man. So anyway, I talked to him, gave him, the pitch, and he found me a job.
Wow.
It's a blessing.
And now, right now today, I send people to him.
To that temp agency guy.
Right.
People who have records.
Call him. He'll get you a job. I got about 7 people jobs that come out of prison
Wow.
over at the cement place. Now, all of them didn't last.
Right. Everybody's ain't gonna last, but at least they got a shot.
I mean, hey, I done my part.
Right.
And that's the one thing I like about Fad said it also, Miss King, is that, a lot of people get a job and they start acting funny versus trying to reach back. Because all we can do is give a person a chance as far as saying, hey, man, here's an opportunity. You don't go looking for them. A lot of times they be looking for you. Man, what you doing up, man? I got me a job. What? And then when you tell them, but I really salute to what he doing and how he did it, you know what I'm saying? Because I did hear the stories in the hood about how he just, round a bunch of people up and told them, man, go holler at this guy. Some of them still on the job. Some of them didn't foot it. But at the same time, here's somebody that's been gone that long, and he didn't come on with the mindset of trying to catch in, but he just came home and, went looking for a job. You got to want it first,
So tell me how you found the discipline to keep a job after being in prison for 27 years.
I worked for free for 27 and a half years.
Okay, so you did work in prison.
For free, yes.
Okay, so what'd you do for free?
I had all the jobs: kitchen, laundry, boot factory, maintenance.
Is that what helped sustain you through that, staying busy?
No.
What sustained you? Or helped you keep your mind, from going crazy, staying in prison that long?
Well, let me share this with you. One time, I realized that I was lost. I got institutionalized.
Oh, you did at one point?
Yeah, everything I seen I was gone. I was gone. I ain't gonna lie, I was gone.
How long were you there when you got lost?
I was there like 17 years, and I was bad off. I was gone.
Mentally?
Mentally, I was gone. And I didn't know until I had this one guy, one of my white friends, Mike Miller. He said,
And that's somebody else who was in prison with
yes. He said, won't you come to Bible studies with us sometime? I said, all right, I'll go down there sometime, but not today.
Yeah.
But I go, So about a month later, I was sitting in the day room, and there's nothing on TV, there's no game, there's nothing going on. And they called Bible study. So I said, let me go in the hallway and see what's happening out here, man, in the hallway,
Yeah, yeah.
So I go in the hallway, I'm walking around, so on the way back, I passed by the Bible study. He seen me. Hey, Fanzetta, what's up? I said, hey, Mike, what's going on? He said, you say you gonna come, you here, won't you just come on in? So I said to myself, well, ain't nothing happening over there, so I go sit in the back row. And they had Tony Evans. They were showing Tony Evans.
Wow.
Yes.
On TV?
Yes. But when they showed Tony Evans, I was sitting there, and I ain't paying no attention to nothing. I was sitting there, and I looked at the TV. And something snapped. Like, I was looking at the TV, I'm saying, man, I'm tripping. I done lost my mind. Man, what's wrong with you? I looked at myself, walking on the back of my shoes.
What?
Clothes 2 sizes too big, shirt.
What?
I'm thinking, man, what's wrong with you? Hair nappy.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know if I brushed my teeth. I said, man, what's wrong with you? I'm thinking to myself.
What made you look inside yourself by watching?
It was something he said.
Oh, something he said.
Yeah, I can't really just.
You think he said something about hygiene or what?
No. He was just talking about men in general. Men in general. He was talking about really men of God, how they dirty and come clean.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm looking, I'm saying, man, and I snap. So I go to the cell after it's over with. I get my rag, get my starch, and went to work.
Is that?
So when I came out in the morning, I looked like a brand new
You
guy.
look like a new man.
man.
Wow.
And they were like, man, what's wrong with
that's
you?
powerful.
That's
Is that powerful? That's powerful.
Hey, what's going on with you? I said, man, I'm back.
power in the word.
I'm
And I
back.
see
yes.
tears in your eyes.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
Y'all should have gave me some tissue or something.
We ain't got no tissue. You can't get him no tissue. You can't get because you're gonna come out unmiked. You just got to cry. No. When
Gotta let it go
you
through.
gotta let it go, man. You gotta cleanse your soul. You got to cleanse our soul.
That's real, man. I
That's
salute
real.
to
No, you
that,
gotta cleanse
man.
your soul. The fact that you can feel and that you can cry, be glad you can still feel.
Oh, yeah,
When
yeah.
somebody cries, you can still feel something. You need to feel it. You need to feel it so to make sure that you don't go back to that ugly 27 and a half years that you did before.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Right. So you have learned to be content with your life. So who do you live with? I mean, how did you? Because a lot of people be dead in 27 years.
Well, I have my mother died in 2005. I think my dad died in 2003. And then my little brother, he died in 2008. Yeah, I was like, man, this is too cold. But I have my sister.
Oh, you still have your sister?
She was 16
You were
when I
raised
left.
with her.
She was 16 when I left. Now she's a grown woman. She's a school teacher. She graduated college. She got 2 beautiful kids. They go to college. Well, one of them go to college. The other one going to college next year. I mean, it's just, and I'm so happy for her.
That's a blessing, man.
That's a blessing.
Yeah. And one time I got dehydrated
In prison.
in prison. I was in the commissary line. I got dehydrated. I was sweating like I'm playing hoop. I ain't doing nothing, just standing in line. But I made it all the way back to the rec yard, and I sat down. To me, it's over.
You think you're dying?
It's over. I mean, it's to me, it's over. I was sitting on the rec yard, and all I got to do is just roll over.
You were just ready to give it up.
It's over. But my sister,
What did you do?
she came across my eyes.
You couldn't give up.
No, boy, you better get up.
Because
So I
she
made-
still loved you.
I know she do. I made it all the way to the.
That's real, homie. That's
It's real,
homie.
baby. It's real. It's real.
real, homie.
When you want to give up like that.
You know, that was the love, that was life at home, that mama gone, daddy gone, brother gone. I got to make it back home to sister, man.
That's all I got.
That's all what was on your mind, bro?
That's it.
Woo.
So I told myself,
powerful.
I said, you need to get up. She's waiting. So I got up and made it to the cubicle. And one of my friends come over, the white guy, he come over, he said, what's wrong with you, man? You know? I said, man, look over there and get my sister's address.
Wow, bro.
I ain't nothing but a punk because I'm sitting there crying harder than you.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm a punk. But go ahead. That's all right.
But
all right.
I said, give my sister's address. He said, before what's going on? I said, I ain't gonna make it. He said, man, look here. He got me up. Took me to the shower. Took my clothes off. Put me in that water. Cold water. Yeah, drink this. So I drunk some, man, I don't want to drink no more water. Man, drink this. You dehydrated.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
You dehydrated. So I drunk. He said, don't go to sleep. I said, man, hey, bring me some clothes. No, you stay in there.
Right.
And I was in there so long to where I shook it.
You shook it out.
I shook it.
Well, I hope that guy's still your friend today.
Oh,
'cause
of
he helped
course,
you
ain't no
beat that.
doubt. Ain't no doubt. I shook it.
What was his name? Do you remember? That's not Mike. Mike
No,
Miller.
no, it's not Mike. That was
That's okay. That's all right. Take your time. Every time you think of it, say it. But wow. Did your sister ever know about that?
no. I'm quite sure she know now.
She might know now.
Watching
She might
this
know
show
now.
right now. You checking it out.
Look, we all need Kleenex because I messed up my makeup and I just paid $85 to get this makeup on my face. You done messed my makeup up, messed me up.
I didn't pay for 15 for mine, but I need to get that back.
You done messed my damn makeup up. Anyway,
Man,
but no, that's real. That's
Yeah, that
real.
is.
That's real. No, that's real.
That's
And
love, man.
That's love, and
That's
you know that you
love.
don't want to go back there ever again.
Oh no, I'll never do it like that. I won't do it like that.
No, you're not gonna leave her like that. She was 16.
That's a miracle, man, on how you know, being solitary like that 3 different times, 18 months, 27 years, 5 months, and just to be able to have, just to be in your right frame of mind in the free world right now.
Yeah, I mean,
and to be able to come on a show like Truth and Justice, man, to be able to tell your story, man, because everybody know this guy. He's super popular in the hood. Everybody know him because, you know, everybody know what he stand for, a good guy. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's so good to see folks like him on this here side because we need individuals like him that can be able to, you can talk to the youth all day long, but if you're not able to say, I walked in them shoes, and I'm telling you the shoes that you don't want on the other side of that wall, these people getting out these 20, 30, 50, and 60 years like it ain't nothing. And, man, that's what it's all about, man. That's, you know, I thank you once again, Ms. King, for being able to, you know, constantly allow the Fifth Ward series to be able to come on this show and tell these stories. And this is what it's all about because we soul searching and seeking to reach out to those who only gonna listen to the ones who done been in the shoe. I don't care what nobody say. Right. You can go get all the book sense. You can go get all the degrees.
Right.
Them youngsters on the street out there ain't listening to nobody that ain't been in their shoe. I done helped a whole lot of them and reached a lot of them. But at the same time, I'm still searching and seeking who else I can reach. So when I go and come across somebody that's willing, a lot of people that's been in the penitentiary on job, they can't tell their story for their job purposes or whatever. I understand. But for those who can come on here and reach and to tell a story to help someone else from destroying their life 50, 60 years, because a lot of people go in the penitentiary, it ain't no guarantee you coming home.
All right.
And ain't no guarantee you coming home with your right frame of mind. Ain't no guarantee you coming home, you know, the man that you walked in there, you ain't coming out the same. So it's serious. So I don't take this lightly. You know, this is what, man, I salute to you, fam. You know, to just be able to come on here, man. Because
we got 2 minutes, so if you can got it to say, I know you've been locked up a long time. If you got it to say, tell young people why they don't want to walk in their shoes. If nothing else, you don't want to watch your mom and your daddy die.
No, you don't. You don't want to be behind the walls and lose your people. That's one of the worst things could happen because they're not letting you go to the funeral. And you get out and And don't be the only child.
Right.
You have nothing.
You don't have nothing.
You have nothing. Nothing at all. It's just,
Well, I just want to tell you this, Fast Eddie. I'm proud of you for sharing your story, having the courage to share your story. I've been doing this since November of 2011. It's my community service. I want young people to do better. I want us to redeem our souls and ourselves by the mistakes we've made. And I want us to have a vehicle. That's why we do the show. I put it on YouTube. I want to make sure. I used to have teachers that would watch it and have their kids doing wrong watch the show to just try to deal with why we make the wrong choices. It's hard to make good choices, but it's better in the long run.
Yes.
It's easy to make the wrong charge when you're 18, 19, 20, 21 and you want it fast, but ain't nothing fast.
Yeah.
No.
You might feel like you deserve this money more than this man did, but this man worked hard for this money.
Right.
We got to start being more conscientious about the people who we're robbing and that we're taking advantage of and that we're preying on because they worked for it, and you can work for it too. Mm-hmm. There's always a way to do it.
Yep.
And so I'm so glad that you got out of prison with your right mind. You can feel, you can cry, you can say, thank God I can feel free air. And I just have the sense that you will make it. I know that you will not go back. I have confidence in you. You've been out for 2 years already. I got confidence that you are not going to walk that walk again. Throw that cement till your back go out.
No doubt. It's already
Throw it till your back go out. Put your back support and throw that cement till your back go out. If you got to learn something else and learn how to paint or something else or learn how to work on a car, do it. Do what you got to do.
That's right.
And when you get your little money saved up, get you a little house in the hood. It ain't going to hurt you. It's yours, okay? Listen to what I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. You can get a little house. Somebody's losing. Put that money down, you can get it. You can get that. You can put new sheetrock, new carpet. It'll be bigger than an apartment and it's yours. You put a fence around it. Have a goal. You can do that. A couple of years, you can do that. You can do it. I'm sure it's abandoned houses in y'all's neighborhood in Fifth Ward every day.
Oh yeah. They out there. They out there waiting.
All right. Well, I'm going to make sure you do that. If you haven't done it already, I'm going to make sure you do that, okay? We'll work with you on that. Well, I'm getting the clock on the wall at 30 seconds. I appreciate people watching tonight, calling, supporting Fast Eddie. Yeah. I'm supporting Art with his Fifth Ward series. He wants to talk about the people that he grew up with and how they changed their life for the better. I appreciate you, Art, for doing that.
Yes.
I appreciate you, Fast Eddie, for having the nerve to tell your story, not being ashamed of because it's going to enlighten somebody, maybe just one person, and it might be hundreds of people, but at least you told your story. Yes. And at least you didn't get the death penalty. Because it's a many of people that you knew that walked that route too.
Yes, it is.
And some of them dead now.
Already gone.
Already gone. So thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. I hope you learned something tonight. I know I did. And I'm rooting for Fast Eddie. See you next week. Good night.